Welcome to Salisbury University on the Air, a program highlighting the activities and the people of the campus. My name is Susan Purnell. For 9 decades, Salisbury University has been a part of the fabric of the Delmarva community. With the President's Distinguished Community Leadership Awards, SU celebrates other organizations and individuals that helped make the Eastern Shore a better place to live. Here to tell us about the program is Robbie Sheehan, chair of SU's Town Gown Council. Welcome, Robbie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always
good
good to see you.
Thank you.
And we're talking about the same thing we talked about last year, but
We
it's
are.
always interesting because there's always new people,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, community service has long been a tradition of the Eastern Shore, but also a pillar of an SU education. How is the university honoring those who service in this community?
Absolutely. So again, this year we're accepting nominations for our President's Distinguished Community Leadership Award. We've had this award since 2003 when the Town Gown Council was established. And so we're accepting nominations for that award so that we can really shine a light on the good work that individuals are doing and organizations are doing throughout the community.
Yeah, there's 2 categories,
There are
right?
2 categories. Yes, there's an individual category and there's an organization category where we accept nominations for.
So tell us something about some of the past winners.
Sure. So last year, Tony Sarbanes actually won. And of course, he's a retired Wacomico County educator, a retired U.S. Army officer, and also served on the county council for a number of years. And he was just a great example of what we look for in this award, someone who is really dedicated to their community, who is involved in civic engagement and has dedicated his life to public service. As far as organizations, we nominated the Chamber of Commerce, Women Supporting Women, MAC, a number of these agencies whose mission it is to improve the lives of those in our community. And so we look forward again this year to accepting nominations and recognizing individuals and organizations.
Yeah, I remember talking to Tony Sarbanes after him.
Yeah.
I have a hard time calling him Tony because he was my principal.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so I have to say,
Wow.
I want to say Mr. Sarbanes every
Yeah.
time I see him, but I go to church with him and I've
Yeah.
sat on many a board with him, and
Yes.
it's interesting, but he is such
He's
a
everywhere.
great guy. He
Yeah.
really is everywhere,
Yeah.
and he has given so much.
Yes.
Who else besides Tony in the
So
past?
we've honored Dr. George Whitehead, Lee Whaley, Marty Neat, Peggy Nalepa, Dr. Carolyn Stegman. The list could go on and on,
And
but these are all
all great
household names of our
examples.
community
Right,
who have really
right.
worked to make our community a better place for us to live.
So what qualities do you look for as a committee?
We're looking for community heroes, those exemplars of civic behavior, like I said, who have committed their lives to public service here in this community, who have gone above and beyond their day jobs to really try to improve the quality of life for those of us who are living in the community and help the most vulnerable citizens in our community. So those are the types of qualities that we look for. As far as organizations, the organizations that I named, their sole purpose is to improve the lives of those of us in the community. And so, yeah.
That's great. What geographic area is included here?
So the entire lower Delmarva Peninsula, so Wacomico, Worcester, Somerset counties, Dorchester County, Accomack, and Northampton counties
into Virginia.
and
Okay.
Sussex County in Delaware.
Great. And how does honoring community volunteers benefit the college itself?
And that's a really interesting question. So Salisbury University, as you said, we're committed to civic engagement, to community service, and we really look for an opportunity to highlight those individuals and the organizations that are dedicated to our community. And so our commencement ceremony is probably one of the largest gatherings in our community. And so what better way to shine a light on those people who are doing good than to honor them at our commencement
Oh, and
ceremony.
that's when you do
Yes,
it, at the
yes.
during
And this year
commencement.
it'll be on May 19th during our spring commencement
Oh,
ceremony.
great. That was sort of my next question, was how are they recognized?
Yep.
So they're given a plaque, or
Yes, yep,
someone
yep.
speaks about their good
Yep.
deeds.
Dr. Janet will give them a shout out at the ceremony,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
great.
usually a great time.
Now, you said the Town Gown Council
Yes.
is the committee that actually determines who's going to get
Yes.
the award. Is that right?
Yes.
And that is comprised of what, SU officials and people from the community? Is
Yes.
that right?
Yep. So in 2003, the Town Gown Council was established under the leadership of Dr. Janet Dudley Eschbach and her Partners for Progress initiative. When she came to Salisbury University, she really saw a disconnect between the community and the university. And one of the ways that she went about trying to improve that relationship was by developing this Town Gown Council, which is really a forum for individuals from the surrounding community and SU administrators and officials to get together to talk about issues of common interest, these different types of community problems that we see arise. This is really a place where individuals get together and talk through some of those problems.
Well, give me an example of an issue.
So we have two subcommittees on the Town Gown Council. One is the Neighborhood Relations Subcommittee. And that is the forum where we talk about student party issues in the community. I know a number of years ago we had an issue.
But we don't hear about that as much
We
anymore.
don't.
It's
So
interesting.
we've implemented a number of changes in the past couple of years. We always had a mechanism for dealing with issues in the community when it came to student behavior, student rentals, but people weren't utilizing it. They didn't realize that there was a number that somebody could call, and there was a voice on the other end of the phone that would be willing to try to talk through the situation with our students and with the community member. So we've launched a number of campaigns at Town Hall. A couple semesters ago, we had our first Town Hall forum, and we do that every semester now, which really just shares with the larger community some of the efforts that we've undertaken to improve these issues, but also put a face with a name. Trying to make those connections between the neighbors and myself or our student affairs vice president, so that if there is an issue in the community, we can work to address those issues. We also last year launched the Optimal College Town Assessment, which is a tool that was developed by the Ohio State University.
Right, I remember answering that
to determine the
questionnaire.
status of town gown relations in the community. So we launched that from October through November, and we're processing the results of that. We had area businesses and local nonprofit organizations respond. So there are a number of things that Town Gown is involved in really trying to ensure that there are strong bridges and linkages between the university and the community. And of course, this award, highlighting the work that somebody or an organization is doing in the community, is certainly one of them.
Yeah, I think it's just great, and I do think that the relationship has improved tremendously
Yeah.
in the last decade or
Yeah.
so. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Well, we've worked hard. We still have
Yeah.
a ways to go, but we're doing well, I think.
Is there a website that people can go to read more about this President's Distinguished Community
Certainly,
Leadership Award?
it's www.salisbury.edu/community leadership. So they can find all the information on there, the applications, the requirements. We require 2 letters of support in addition to filling out this application as well.
So our viewers then can go to this website and they can actually nominate themselves, that they nominate someone?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And they'll need to email it to either myself or my assistant Gina Bubar at gmbubar@salisbury.edu, or they can send it to my office. Of course, they can send it to the university, 1101 Camden Avenue, Salisbury, Maryland, 21801.
When's the deadline?
Deadline is April the 1st. Close of business day, April 1st.
Okay, so get your nominations in. You have
Yes.
1 month or
Yep,
so.
yep. Great.
Very good.
Thank
Well, I
you so
think
much,
it's great.
Susan.
It's so good to have you
Yep.
and to talk about this. And I can't wait to see who is chosen again this
Me
year.
too, me too.
Because it's always somebody really great who deserves it.
Absolutely.
And it's terrific that you do honor these people
Thank
in
you
the
so much,
community.
Susan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And now, here's a look at activities and events scheduled on the campus in March. One of those events in the list we just saw is the Bobby Byron Theater Department's production of Frank Wedekin's Spring Awakening, a children's tragedy. Here to tell us more is Dr. Paul Pfeiffer. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Now, not only are you the co-chair of the new Music, Theater, and Dance Department, but you're also the director of this production. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's a very controversial play. First of all, we're doing the original German play, not in German, but we're doing the original play, not the musical, and that's the one thing that we're trying to make very clear in any press, that it's not the musical. The play, it centers around a group of teenagers. They're all like 14, 15. They know nothing about sex or anything like that. They have no idea. Their parents don't tell them anything. And so we have this group trying to figure it all out, and this group trying to prevent them from figuring it all out and keeping them in the dark. And it has some unfortunate aftermath. One character actually dies.
Doesn't end well for all.
It doesn't
right?
end well for most.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because of the closed atmosphere of the parents. There's no open communication about anything. And I think in some ways that's not changed.
I was just going to say that might have been the case in, what was this, the late 19th century,
Right.
but it's still the case today,
Yes,
I
it
think,
is.
in many
Yeah.
cultures and many families in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
It's, I know my parents didn't talk about it. They
Yeah.
never said the word when I was growing up, so I understand that. It does sound very controversial. Now, how has the public reacted to this play throughout the years?
Well, it was not allowed to be, it wasn't produced until like 1908. And then it was only done for one performance, and then it was done cut. I don't think it had been done intact anywhere until about the 1970s, that recently. And some scenes would be absolutely, and so it's had a kind of checkered past, and no one's seen the whole thing for a long time.
Is this the most controversial thing you've ever done here?
It is. Probably the second would be Equus. That was a long time ago. And then that was more controversial than, but
this trumps
this
that.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
The kids are all excited about it.
I
they're,
bet.
They're having a blast.
Now, earlier this century, the play you said did see somewhat of a revival. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's after the 60s, it started to be produced more and more. And then, of course, it was made into the musical in 2008, I think it was. It's been done. I read recently that it's up for a film. They're making a film version, but they're making a film version of the musical.
Okay, so they've never made
They've never made a film
movie
version
of it.
of the play, which is too bad, because the musical is very, very different in that it glorifies a lot of the stuff that in the play it's a product of their innocent exploration, as opposed to this glorification. You see, so the shock factor of these kids wanting to know about sex and all that kind of thing is totally removed in the atmosphere of the musical, because the one character is a sort of rock star type, and in this play he's this tormented student who kills himself because he failed his class, and that just doesn't make any sense. There's really not a whole lot in common between the two.
So you will not have any musical aspects at all.
Well, we'll
in
have
this.
music, but it's not a musical. We'll have background music.
Background music.
Underscoring.
But no one's going to
No.
break out in song.
No.
Okay. All right. And the play was also adapted for television, is that right? At one
Yes,
point?
I read that it had, and I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see it, not till after I'm done working on it.
Now, why is it so important to you that the play from 1891 is produced intact?
Well, I think especially in an academic environment, we should do our best to produce any play intact, with all of its faults as well. You know, just because we need to be exposed to that. In this case, the stuff that would have been cut in the 1890s or whatever, the stuff that would have been cut earlier is less shocking now than it was, of course, then. But it is still necessary to the story. The story would suffer immensely if those things
If
were
you cut those things.
Yeah, because it would be all watered down. You know, some of those things are shocking because they're supposed to be shocking. That's the point. You know, that this is the extent to which people
This is
go.
what happens when
Right.
you don't talk about something.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Huh. Very, very interesting. Now, I understand you had this scheduled before, and now you're going to, we've changed the time,
Right.
correct? When
Right.
will this play take place?
The play will open on Thursday, the 31st of March, and then run that weekend, and then the second weekend.
Oh,
is
2
in-
weekends.
2 weekends in April. So it closes on April 10th
And in the Bobby Byron Theater.
in the Black Box
Correct.
Theater, right?
How much is admission?
It is $12 and $9 for senior citizens, faculty, staff, alumnus, you know, students.
Since I think I'm on the cusp, maybe I'm not. What connotes a senior citizen?
62.
I'm right there.
Ah.
I get in for $9. That's great. Can tickets be purchased in advance?
Yes, they can be purchased online through the website, our department website. They can be bought on the phone, and they can be picked up at the box office itself. The box office is in Fulton, and it is open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4.
Okay.
That's
so-
the easiest way to, if you feel like you want to have them right then and there. But yeah.
And to make sure you get a seat. It's a small theater.
Well, that's the thing. It is a small seat, and so you know we sell as many as we can fit. But if people don't come early enough, after a while we have a waiting list. So we draw on the waiting list. So anybody that buys tickets in advance doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed a seat. You got to get there at least by 1:45 to get in there, and so that we don't, because there's a lot of demand for, it's a small space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is made for mature audiences.
Very.
So, very mature audiences. So maybe
Yeah.
some students shouldn't even go.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think it would be great for teenagers, you know, but not younger than say 14. You know what I mean? I mean, the characters
will
are
they
14.
be
so they,
carding people at the door? I mean, is it, no.
I
it's
mean,
just
anybody.
use good
you know,
sense. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, great.
Right.
Well, I look forward to it. I
Yeah.
always love productions in that theater. It's very
It's a
intimate.
nice space.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And I hope that I'll make it along with some of our viewers.
I hope so too.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank my guests, Robbie Sheehan, Chair of SU's Town Gown Council, and Dr. Paul Pfeiffer, co-chair of the Music, Theater, and Dance Department. I'm Susan Purnell, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching. And now here's another look at what's happening on the campus in March. I'm Susan Purnell, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.